Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to From Heroes to Icons. I am Jason. This is supposed to be my review of Amazon's Wheel of Time, the fourth episode, but I cannot detach myself from the original source material, so I will be passing the review of this show to my daughter. Hopefully, you will enjoy her. I don't want to just totally destroy the show because I just ain't feeling it. Episode 4 to me was good in that the spectacle was what it was, but I ain't gonna leave it no more. So, without any further ado, here is Janae with the review of Amazon's The Wheel of Time, Episode 4, The Dragon Reborn.
Hello, I am Janae, and I am from Heroes to Icons' daughter. I will be standing in for him today. I would just be giving my review. He didn't want to do too much damage. So we are going to be starting with episode 4, The Dragon Reborn. We start the episode with them in the Aes Sedai, with Moraine getting healed. And I think it's very interesting. I thought it was very interesting. The whole village, not village, but how they all set up camp. It was very interesting seeing all the Aes Sedai and their waters together. And I forgot her name, but the Aes Sedai that was healing Moraine. I love her. There will be spoilers, just letting you know. Very, very upset what happened to her, but we see them go to Logain, who is in the cave, where they have him kind of in a, I don't want to say trap, but they got him in like a little steel cage, which is very cool. And from what I was told, that in the book, there's about 6 of them that can hold him. There were only 2 to 3, but in the book, it's 6 because of how powerful he is. I think Logain is very interesting. Even in the beginning when they gave a little backstory on him, and I think he's very interesting. The way he kind of was just like, he spared the soldier. I didn't think he was going to do that. Even with the madness talking in his ear, he still spared the guy, and he was just like, well, the last dragon brought, despair and destroyed everything, but I'm going to bring the peace. And I'm like, I don't think so. But I genuinely think he really wants to, but at the same time, it's just like, if that's the case, then don't flex about it. But he has he's very persuasive. Just even his character, the person who's playing him, very persuasive. Because even I was just confused. I was like, wait a minute. He kind of shows off being the Dragon Reborn very well. I'm just like, I could be convinced. So the Red Aes Sedai, who is, she she loves to go against the grain always. She's like, can we just take him out? Like I'm sick of this. Like, we all our energy's going low. We ain't gonna hold them until we get to the White Tower. I'm like, why we gotta wait for, all of them at the White Tower to rain judgment when we've already seen what he's done. So, but the green Aes Sedai and Moraine was just like, we gotta listen to them. We gotta wait for them to give us the okay. I'm going to jump to when we jump to Rand and Matt and my man's Tom Merlin. So they're traveling, whatever, and we see the horse kind of like going against Matt. He can't control it as much, and they end up at a Matt and Rand kind of talk and be like, how can we trust this dude? Like, how do we know he's not also one of the Dark Ones? Because he said she was like, oh, the Dark Ones are coming. So they were like, how can we trust him? And it's just like, we might as well. They get to a farm and they're gonna kind of sneak in, like, and just be like, we're gonna sneak in when they least expect it. But one of the farmer kind of puts them at arrow point and is like, what are you doing here? And Matt going to grab for the knife that he grabbed in episode 2, I believe, which that knife is a little dark, not being the best to him. And Rand kind of like dies down the situation, and he's just like very truthful. He's like, this is what it is. He's like, we were going to sneak into your barn. We just want to stay there for the night. And the farmer was just like, he's like, come on. He's like, you're really not going to shoot us? The farmer's like, you know what, you're right. And it was so funny how his wife and child were behind with the arrows like ready. I thought that was so cute. I was like, they were all at the ready. They're like, we're going to defend this farm till our last breath. This is our home. And I like that little bit. That was nice. Tom Maryland is a little cautious of how Matt is acting, because Matt is a little acting a little off, a little not really but he acting a little off. So little fast forward into the nighttime, Matt, they're shoveling, you know, because the farmers asked them to do a little something. If they stay, you know, you stay, you do a little chore for us. So they're shoveling whatever. Matt goes and walks off, and he kind of throws up, unfortunately, feeling very sickly. He looks very sickly. He looks a little palish, sweaty, all of that. Throws up, but when we look at it, it's like black goo. It's like black goo going to him. Like even in his like the residue on his mouth is like black. So it's like, oh, the darkness is getting to him low key. And the little girl comes up to him and she gives him his little doll. I thought that was a little cute. She's just like, it'll protect you. And I was like, that is so sweet. And like the parallels with his own sisters, he was like, oh, you're like my sisters, they never listen. And I'm just like, oh, little parallels. And then we get to Rand and Tom talking, and Tom's kind of talking to him, telling him how some of the what is the word? I can't find the word right now. How some of the not the Dragon Reborns, but the ones with the power, the one power, how some of them fall into the like once they get it it's a slow cycle where they slowly start going into the darkness and they start doing little things that is just like, that's not morally right that you're doing, but you're still doing it. So he's explaining, he was like, my nephew, you know, he fell into it, and he was also explaining how the Aes Sedai, when they took it, it's like they can't live without it. Them living without it, it's just like they're in a comatose state, and he just dead. He shadow realmed himself. We'll put it as that. He shadow realmed himself, and he's just like, I've seen this before. And and Rand's just like, how do you know all of this? And it's like, if I really told you what I was, you wouldn't really, like, I have to be on the low key. So they're going to rest. And while in the rest, we see Matt kind of like shielded, but Rand's like, hey, you know, I'm here for you. You know, you're my friend. I'm here for you when, you know, whatever happens. And we go to Ram's nightmare. He's seeing Perrin beat his dead wife with a hammer. We're seeing Matt wander in the background. And then we see the thing with the amber eyes take I always pronounce her name wrong. Egwene. Egwene and just like, ah! And he jumps up and they're like, where's Matt? And Tom's like, where's Matt? And I'm just like, were none of y'all watching him? Like, they go in, everybody dead as life. Matt standing there with the knife in his hand like, I know you're here. Just into the shadows, and we see the, I call it Voldemort with no eyes, in the shadows. And there, Tom Maryland is fighting with him, throwing the knives. I do like the knife work. And Tom and Matt, no, not Tom, Rand and Matt leave. And Matt's like, oh my God, did I do this? Like, bro, we ain't got time for that. Y'all need to go. And Tom is left fighting Voldemort with no eyes. So I know I'm jumping a little bit, but I'm going in the order of the scenes that kind of meant, kind of didn't like. I'm going in my own little. So then we go to Egwene and Perrin, who are traveling with the Tinkers. We get a little insight with the Tinkers about their moral compass wise and how they don't fight. They go by the code of the leaf. Me personally, I don't agree with that because just a personal thing. I'm like, you not being, I'm like, even when you're being held up at gunpoint or it's self-defense, you just lie there and take it. I don't believe that. I believe that you should at least fight for your life if it came down to it. Like, I understand the not wanting to violence, but if you were in a situation where you have to fight for your life, I feel like you should fight for your life. That is your life. Should be precious to you. But for them, it was just like, no, we run, or we just, it is what it is. And it's just like, it shouldn't be, it is what it is. But I'm just like, and Perrin was just like, should we even be with these people? And the older woman, she was kind of just telling him like, oh, well, what has you picking up a weapon done for you? And it's just like, like that's a little too, I was like, too soon. Too soon. It's a little too soon. If a lot of you don't remember, in the first episode, he accidentally killed his wife. So they're bringing up a lot of, Egwene seems to be very, she likes being around them. I cannot remember his name, but their grandson, I think it's Armin. I believe it's Armin. Armin seems to be not a pessimist, but he's just like, I kind of don't believe, all the things, because they were talking about the song again, and they were like, the song, the song is supposed to harmonize everyone, and once they find the song is supposed to bring harmony and peace to everyone. And Egwene was like, you don't think it's already done that now? Like, and it was showing everybody dancing and, around the fire and playing music and all of that. And it was just a little nice thing. Like, isn't this already the harmony and peace? But like, what they're looking for is to do it all across the world. And it's just like, that's going to take a while, because unfortunately a lot of people love to fight with fire, like to solve their problems via violence. So that with the parallels with the peace and the violence is very interesting. The way they kind of like, she talks to Perrin about it, because Perrin was just like, oh, it was like some woman off to the side who had like a little, I think it was a mark on her face. I'm not sure. It was like a painting mark a little bit. He was like, what is she? He was like, oh, she used to be a killer. And I'm just like, y'all got killers over here? Okay. And it was a very insight on seeing how some people who just don't, and how she was, and he was like, well, who do you do it for? Do you do it for these people? Like, do you do it for yourself? Like, that seems, and we find out she does it for her daughter who died via bandits. And she wanted to get revenge, but chose not to. And it's back to the whole, do you do the revenge? Do you do not the revenge? Peace, violence, whatever the case, And that's a good, like, that was an interesting parallel seeing, because you always have to have the parallels of the violence and the peacemakers and the should you, shouldn't you, and if you do this, it'll mess up your moral compass. If you do this, it's not gonna be, it's always a back and the forth with that. So I like that they talked about it a little bit, especially with how the Tinkers are and they following their moral code, like they stick to it. Then we get a little scene with Armin and Egwene, sitting near the fire, looking at the stars, and he was just like, who is he? Is he still, alive? And she's like, I know he is. And I'm just like, yes, girl. Be there for your man. I'm just like, yeah, I'm taking. You need to back off a little bit. Because they was having a little, felt like there was a little tension between the two if they were trying to do that. I don't know. It felt like they were trying to do a little tension with it. Who knows? And I wanted to save this for last because I really wanted to go into detail about all the Aes Sedais. So what I've noticed is the green Aes Sedais are, for a little bit from this episode, they can take more than one water, and they have the woman that was the green Aes Sedai, very like her outfit. I liked how the chains looked. It was looking very beautiful. It was very nice. She was just explaining like how she felt so heroic taking it, and talking about how like them fighting the Dragon Reborns with Moraine, because Moraine had came to guard Logain with her, and they were just talking, and she was just like, oh, so they sent you to butter me up. They sent my friend to come butter me up, and it's just like, girl, it ain't even about that. I just need to... Moraine is kind of to herself, that we've noticed with the Aes Sedais. She's a little to herself. Because a lot of them, they're like, yo, who can crack Moraine? Like, Moraine is very to herself. Nobody can crack her. Nobody at all. Maybe Lon, but nobody can crack her. Even the Aes Sedai with the... I think she's darkish. She's the dark green, the black woman with the puffs. She, even when after she had the whole convert, when Moraine took her shift, she went back in her water, which he was, I like their interactions. I very much like their interactions. I like how they have the Aes Sedais in the waters. I think it's really, it gives soulmate but Omegaverse, like alpha Omega vibes. And I rock with that a little. I kind of rock with that. I like that a little bit. We do see the red Aes Sedai go and talk to Nynaeve. I know I haven't spoken to Nynaeve. I will get to her. And Nynaeve was not feeling her at all. She mispronounced her name. She was like, is it Nynaeve? I'm like, all right, don't. That kind of got me pressed because I was like, you over here doing that on purpose. I was like trying to get a rise out of people. And she's like, the camp is always, our tent is always welcome for the women. I'm like... like, I understand she's one of those, but I'm just like, we get it. She's for the women. Like I'm all about the women's. We only want women here. The men can just go over there and stay there. So she was a little we do see Lon, and I'm jumping a lot, and he was like with one of the other waters. And they were just, I guess, training a little bit with their swords, and he had his 2 axes, and they were talking, and he had asked him where he found Nynaeve, and he was just like, oh, well, he was like, you have a very strange taste in women. I was like, okay. I was like, y'all trying to put little tidbits in there. I'm like, okay. He was like, she probably stubborn. I'm like, Nynaeve very stubborn. Very stubborn. But back to after the red Aes Sedai, I'm gonna just call it a red Aes Sedai because she be having me pressed. I ain't be remember her name like that. After she, walked away because Lon had came and wanted to talk to Nynaeve, and she was just like, I'ma go now. And it's just like, you ain't gotta leave. And after she leaves, Nynaeve's like, she is such a snake. And I was like, she knows. So they talk a little bit, and he's just like, we get a few moments with Nynaeve and Lon, and I appreciate it a lot because high-key ship it. I was like, oh my god, we get scenes with them. So it was nice seeing them interact a couple of times. There was another time, fast forward a little bit to the nighttime. They're at the fire, whatever, and all the waters are talking, and Nynaeve, they're asking Lon about Nynaeve and how they met and everything. And it was very interesting. And we see all the waters, and she was talking about like the Aes Sedais with the waters, and she was like, aren't y'all like servants to them? Like all y'all do is follow them. And he was like, you know what Aes Sedais mean? It means, oh Jesus, forgot what it meant. But he was like, they have to follow the higher ups. Like we're not following them. They're following other people who are who are in charge of them. Like they're like the waymakers, and she was like, well, how do y'all feel? And Mom was like, proud. And I was like, good for, I was like, it's nice to see. And then we see the Aes Sedais, get their waters. And it's a nice concept seeing all of them together. Like it gives a lot of soulmate bond type vibes, and it's very interesting. And seeing even when the 2 dudes with the green Aes Sedai, she comes and she get to both of them up. So, and he's like, it's tiring. And we see all of them go to their Aes Sedais, and we see Lon, and he gets up and he's like, yeah, I should go too. And I'm like, but Nynaeve is right here. And the dude, He just sits there, he laughs, because I think he knows there's a little something, there, you can feel the tension. And Lon goes to Moraine, and he's like, is this the real dude? How powerful is he? Like, what's going on? And she's like, I can't tell. Like I can't tell, but I don't know. And then he had brought up the Trollocs following Rand and all of them, and he's just like, does the Dark Ones even know who the Dragon Reeve, like, does anybody even know anymore? Are we all just playing like Duck Duck Goose, like, who is the Dragon Reborn? Like, nobody knows. Like, everybody's just taking guesses, because here is Logain, and then you have the other four, and it's just like, well, who is it? Because he's a little older than what the age of the Dragon Reborn is supposed to be. So it's just like, nobody knows right now. It's just a playing of the Duck Duck Goose right now. So we get a fast forward to Lon walking or whatever, and Nynaeve sees him and she follows, and he's saying a little prayer or whatever, and she's like, oh, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, it's a prayer of my people. And it's another cute little scene between the both of them. And she was like, oh, I didn't even know you do that. And it was just like, oh, it's what we say of finding, peace in, another life, or in the, in the afterlife. And she goes and she says a little prayer or whatever. And he was like, oh, you speak the old language. I didn't even know that. And she was just like, and he was like, do you know what it means? And she's like, no. She was like, the last time I heard someone say that, it was my mother. And he tells her what it means, which it means, oh my goodness, what does it means? Oh, forgive me, I had just watched the show, it was so much going on. That the children, like, the children will protect us or something. And it was like, she got a little emotional, because it was, keep in mind, it was the last thing her mother told her. So it was like, oh my goodness, I didn't know it had so much weight to her. It had so much weight to it. So we fast forward to, I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Yes, okay. After that, we get a scene, we get a jump cut to the red Aes Sedai and the dark green Aes Sedai with the black woman with the puffs. And they're, still shielding Logain. And next thing you know, no. Logain's army is coming. They hear that Logain's army is coming. They're like, oh my goodness, we gotta head back to the cave. I'm like, we gotta hold this man down. We can't let him get loose. And as soon as we jump cut to red Aes Sedai and the dark green Aes Sedai, and they're like, how he gonna get out? It's like, he ain't gonna get out. Red Aes Sedai's like, they ain't gonna get him out. And lo and behold, he had got them all slipping, and he just busted open. They both flew into walls and they hurt themselves. They both busted up. They all busted. They got knocked out. I said, I said, here you go, run in your mouth, and they got knocked out. I said, that's what you get. So then we get Moraine walking in, being like, so how I know you the Dragon Reborn? Like we only got a few minutes to talk, but while we here talking, convince me that you're the Dragon Reborn. Convince me. And while they're talking, whatever, we jump cut to his army, and we get the green Aes Sedai taking the arrows and just shooting it back at them, which was really cool. It was really cool to see a lot of the Aes Sedais use their little, whoosh. It gave a lot of like Avatar-ish vibes, and I really liked it. Seeing all the waters defend them was very cool. They stuck to them like glue. We saw Nynaeve and Lon sticking together, of course. I gotta bring them up because I ship it so bad. They gave me a little enemies to lovers. So we get back to Moraine, and she's trying to defend herself the best as she. Well, she's not even there. They're just talking, and he's just like, I'm going to help y'all. I'm gonna do better. I'm not gonna be like the last Dragon Reborn. I'm going to make peace happen. I'm going to have this happen. And she was just like, You ain't the Dragon Reborn, and you ain't never gonna be the Dragon Reborn. And we see the dark green Aes Sedai. She get up real quick and she busts him up, and we get the red Aes Sedai. She get up and they all put him down, and they're like whoosh, and then this scene, and in the midst of them trying to do that, the dark green Aes Sedai gets hit. She get hit and she's dead. She's dead. So her water feels her. Everybody looks at him. He feels it. They all start running to the cave. No hesitation. They all start running to the cage. Red Aes Sedai, she is pressed. She's like, we're taking this man down. Moraine's like, girl, you have to stand down. You losing too much energy. She's like, no, he killed our sister. We taking him out. Granted, I do understand why she's upset. I'd be upset too. They didn't have to do her like that. They did not have to kill her off. That was foul. I thought that was so foul. So he comes. He sees her on the floor dead. He runs up with his axes. And it kind of like the black tendrils. They're like black tendrils. Logain, like his eyes, like his power. It's like black tendrils, I guess, to show the madness. But it's like really cool how it's like black tendrils, and it's just like, and it catches it, and it like, boosh, and it just shatters, and it hits everybody. Everybody got hit. Lon got his throat slit. He's on the floor. Moraine always got to get hit the worst. She got a whole like, I guess the bottom, the top part, the part that you hold the axe, that holds the axe. I think that was like in her side. She always got to get the worst of it. Moraine, unfortunately. The red Aes Sedai got hit like right here where Moraine got hit, and everybody's on the floor hit. Logain's just like, what y'all gonna do? What? I'm out. And we see Nynaeve, and we've known even when they were fighting the Logain's army, Nynaeve was just like, there was like this weird, you could tell that something was going on with her, that she was gonna pop off a little bit, because it's just like, oh my goodness, there's all this fighting, there's all like, everybody's like, there's so much going on, and it's so overwhelming. And she goes to Lon, and she's trying to help him, and he bleeding out, and he's like, it wasn't funny that he was bleeding out, but she's trying to help him, and she just explodes with energy. It was like she was turning Super Saiyan, but with like the one power. It was so intense, and it like pushed him back. It pushed Logain back, because he was like, oh my gosh, the power. And it's just like, okay, calm down. Like granted, it was so ill how it just was like, whoosh, and it covered everybody, and she healed everybody's wounds. And as soon as everybody's wounds healed, Red Aes Sedai was like, we gotta do it. Get up. Let's go. And all of them, and they all like get together, all the Aes Sedais, like they run up all one by one, and they slowly they all gentle him. They gentle him. They're like, you're done. We're shutting this down. You don't get no more chances. You're done. You're literally done. So they take it so we see them gentle him and take the one power from him, and he is so devastated by it. You see that one tear come down from his eye, and he's so upset. And I think he truly thought he was the reborn. Like, he is the reborn, and he really wanted to make a difference. I truly, like, seeing that, I truly think he wanted to make a difference as being the reborn, and he really wanted to make a change. And I thought it was really cool how we saw, like, it was like a dark wing. It looked like wings a little bit leaving his body. It was like dark looking wings. And I think like the way it looked like a little bit how the tapestry looked, like the way how they always was like using it. It was like really, it turned out into like a pattern really. I can't really like describe the pattern, but it was like a insignia type power. It was like an insignia type sign when they did it. It was really cool. And then we see Nynaeve on the floor, and Lon's like, you just hit my neck. How you do that? And she's just sitting there, and her braid is loose, and her hair's down, and we see her just standing there like, and there's a close up on her, and her face is like, and then fade to black. So, I will give the episode a 8.5, and I only give it an 8.5 because I got to see a lot of the Aes Sedais, and I like to see and I love seeing the parallels between them. I wasn't really a fan of like the whole Tinker scene. That was kind of just like a filler-ish scene to me. Like, I feel like we could have got more with the Aes Sedai and more information and more things on, or saw more scenes with Logain and him doing stuff, because we did, like, only thing we saw him do is like spare a soldier, and we did see the Madness kind of talk to him, but we didn't see really like a lot with him. So we kind of heard a lot of he said, she said about who he is and what he does and all of that. I wish they would bring a little bit more about the White Tower and the other Aes Sedais in the White Tower, but I guess they'll go into more episodes about that. But I guess they went to Egwene and Perrin to see like what they're up to. We didn't really get a lot about them. It was just like more about the Tinkers and who they are. And that's fine and everything, but that could have been done somewhere else. Matt and Rand and Tom, I did like how Tom had fought the Voldemort with no eyes with the knives. That was pretty dope. Matt falling into Loki the darkness, I don't know how I'm feeling about that. Like, it's all because of, I feel like it's all because of the knife that he grabbed, and it's just like, how could you be so stupid to grab that knife? Like, I'm still baffled that he went and grabbed the knife like a dodo bird. Like, why? Like out of all the devastation, you just gonna take the knife? Like, you not gonna think nothing sideways gonna go? Dodo bird. So, but I really like the Aes Sedais, all of that, and I like the scenes with Nynaeve. And I did not expect Nynaeve to be so powerful like that. I knew she would probably have like a little bit of powers, but I didn't know she was gonna be like that powerful. She got that healing powers. But I guess we could tell because of the way she heals and how she was making the medicine and all that, so we could tell that she was going to have some type of one powers of some sort. But I do like her, and I know I keep going back to Lon and Nynaeve's little I like their I really like how they are as characters. They don't force it. It's like not slow build up, but you get a couple scenes with them. You get them trying to little understanding each other. Even they said that they didn't think each other was who they thought they were. I did like the parallels with the Aes Sedai and the war. Like, we really got to see how it feels when a water really loses its Aes Sedai, and that was kind of heartbreaking seeing that. Like, seeing how devastated he was. I can only imagine how horrible he feels right now. But I will give this episode an 8.5, only because the Aes Sedai and Nynaeve. Only because of that. That and Tom Perrin with the knives. That was pretty dope. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you guys next week. Maybe my dad will be with me next time. Stay glossy, stay best, stay awesome. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and see you on the flip side.